Hey guys, this is Ari, lead programmer of Team 865. Today I'm going to teach you guys how to program your robots in IntelliJIdea IDEA with the 2014 FRC SDK. So to start us off, I've made a little SDK package that you guys can download from the link in the description. I've already got that downloaded, so let's go ahead and get started. So this right here, the FRC 2014 java.zip is everything you're going to be needing. So open that zip up and go to your user folder. So in your user folder, I need you guys to drop these two files, not the robot template, just the SDK and the .properties file. Drop those in your user folder. And what these are, the Sunspot FRC SDK comes every year. This year it was embedded in a NetBeans module, so I had to do a bit of trickery to get the library files you're going to need out of it. But this is all just standard FRC stuff, nothing else. So while this is extracting, I'm going to go ahead and open up IDEA. This is a really cool IDE. It's my IDE of choice. We've got a site license for free from the whole team. And if you're an educational institution, you can probably get a free license. Go check on their site. I'll probably drop a link in the description. If not, there's a community edition, which has a couple less features, but it's still a great IDE. I prefer this over NetBeans and Eclipse because NetBeans is a bit too clunky for me, and Eclipse doesn't work very well with theming, and I prefer a dark theme in my IDE. So, since this is extracted, I'm going to go ahead and get you guys to right-click this .properties file and edit it with whatever text editor you're going to use, say Notepad or Notepad++. So, what you're going to do here, you're going to change the Sunspot to home variable to reference your username. So, in my case, it's demo, so you do demo, and this is going to be your team number. So, if your team number is, say, 2056, you do 20.56.2. And for my team, which is 865, I'm going to be doing 8.65.2. So you can go ahead and close these up. Here we are in IDEA. So what we're going to do, we are going to create a new project. So file new project. Let's call it something random. Let's call it Demo Robot. So let's make Demo Robot. Make sure you have a project SDK selected. If you don't, you can always go new, browse to the location of your JDK, which is probably going to be in C program files if you're on a 32-bit machine. So make sure you've got the JDK instead of a JRE, because JREs don't work for compiling what we need. So once you got that, go ahead and hit OK with all the default settings. Open it in this window or a new window, it doesn't really matter. And here we are, Demo Robot. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new class. Let's just call this Robot Main. You can call this whatever. You can call it AwesomeBot. Let's call it AwesomeBot. So your AwesomeBot class, this is just going to be your main robot class. You can make it extend command-based robot or simple robot. I'm going to go with simple robot for now. We're not actually decoding any robots right now. So the problem is there's an error because we don't have the libraries referenced yet. So you got to right-click here, right-click your project, choose Open Module Settings. Under Libraries, you want to hit the plus button and browse to where we installed the Sunspot FRC SDK in your user folder. Open that up, hit lib, and then holding the control key, click every one of these except project. These are the libraries you're going to need to interface with the robot. So go ahead, click OK, let it add those. It might even automatically add Java docs for you, which is always great. So hit OK a bunch of times. Rename this to something useful like robot libs. And go ahead and hit OK. Now you'll notice if you mouse over this, you actually get the import first library prompt. So go ahead and hit Alt-Enter to do that, and you have a robot. It does absolutely nothing, but you can even control-click class names to get to source, so you can figure out what to do. For now, I'm just going to go write a robot init method, so just to make sure this is working. So we're going to go public void robot init system.out.println robot is working. Yay! And go ahead and finish that line off. So what we're going to do now, next step, is building the robot. So the thing about FRC Java is you can't just run a normal Java file. You actually have to have a couple of special build files included. So I've included those in the robot template directory of the zip. You can just drag those into somewhere on your computer. I drop them on my desktop, and then copy paste those into your project file, which is probably going to be IDEA projects. idea projects, your robot, and right here, not in SRC. So go ahead and paste those. If we tab back into IDEA, you'll see they probably loaded. If they didn't, just go ahead and hit synchronize demo robot. So what we have here is a build.xml. This file I actually had to write myself because the 2014 SDK doesn't work well with IDEA, and it wouldn't run 2 ant build tasks without manually selecting them. So the name really doesn't matter. Call it AwesomeBot if you want. Let's call it AwesomeBot. And make sure base dir is dot, which means current directory. So now that that's done, build.properties, you can just leave that alone. Resources, on the other hand, this file is very important. This tells your Serio what program, what class to run. So we're going to go ahead and call this AwesomeBot. And it's the same things as before. You go AwesomeBot. You need that comma with a space in between. Then here we need a package name. So don't put everything just SRC, make a package. So let's call our package com.myawesometeam.frc2014. So here you'd go com.myawesometeam.frc2014. So now that's there. All we have left to do is actually get the ant build working. Thankfully, that's really easy because all I got to do is go View, Tool Windows, Ant Build. Hit the plus button. You're going to have to do this once and choose build.xml. So we can minimize that. All that matters is build deploy is the default task, and all it does is run deploy and run. That's all it does. So we can go back to here, just select this, and I'm going to go power on the robot. Be back in a second. So, while my robot's booting up, I'm going to go ahead and open Driver Station, because, of course, you need Driver Station to drive your robot. So, we're going to hit Setup. Make sure your team number is the right team number here. For me, it's 0865. It could be 2056, 1114, any number. 1111. So, you probably want it to automatically configure your local area connection if you're connecting to a router in bridge mode. Or if you're connecting to the robot directly over Wi-Fi, you're probably going to want it to automatically configure your wireless adapter. For me, I've got a little complicated networking setup, but it should be working. So just to check, I'm going to go Properties in my Internet settings and check my IPv4 settings. See, sometimes it doesn't work, so you got to set this manually. It's really easy. 10. Here's your team number again, 8.65.11, or any number that isn't 2 or 4. Subnet is the same, and you can leave all that stuff how it is. So just hit close, and everything works. This should actually show you don't have internet. Oh, there we go. Teleoperated disabled. Perfect. So all we got to do now is deploy our code. So all you got to do is hit the run button, and now we wait. So what it does here is just run all the first stuff, pre-verify, build, deploy. I actually had to make an edit to the ant build files because they were trying to use a file that didn't exist for some reason, because they were trying to link to the global platform pre-verify when I had to make it statically link to the Windows pre-verify executable. This means that this won't work on OS X or Linux, but you should be able to figure it out by going into the pre-verify ant build file and changing the location to the executable for your operating system. So, our robot is working. That print line we had there, it actually printed it, and it's running on a physical robot right now. I don't know if you can hear the hum of that in the background, but it is definitely working. So, there you have it, guys. This is how to get the FRC 2014 software development kit working in IntelliJIdea, my preferred IDE of choice. You can always do more things like VCS integration. You can do Git, you can do Subversion. It's great for team GitHubs, easy pushing and pulling. I would highly recommend this IDE to any team. It's a bit tricky, so you probably want someone with a bit of Java experience instead of just trying to dive into it. But it's a great IDE. I hope you guys enjoyed, and good luck this season.